Hey guys, thanks here, back with another video. I want to say thank you to my viewer. This wave is for you. I went for the most clickbaity title and thumbnail I could, just to see if there's actually someone that clicks on this video. As you can tell, English is not my native language, so please be kind. In the background, it's going to be me playing some Euro Truck Simulator. I'm really enjoying this game to chill out while watching something else. We all watch content, and my favorite streamer by far is Asmongold. I've been watching his stream for many years. I don't remember when exactly I started, but probably somewhere around Legion, if you know what that is. I'm probably also around the average of what his viewers are. I'm 31, I started playing WoW when I was 12. Played it for very long, but this new expansion is the first time that I'm not even going to give it a 1 month try. I'm balding a bit, and I'm getting a transplant very soon. I enjoy unfiltered opinions, especially if I agree with them. I don't like things that are too politically correct. I keep on caring about WoW even now, and I know more about US politics than I do about the politics in my country. And Asmon is basically my way to keep up with whatever drama is on the gaming industry. For the most part, I agree with his takes. He's a real dude. And even though he plays a little bit of a character when he's live, just so he is more entertaining, which he does extremely well, he obviously can be way more chill, like he used to be on his second channel, when it was no camera, talking very little, and playing WoW in autistic mode. But there's something that gets me every time the topic comes up, because he truly reflects what I believe is the average knowledge and sentiment of the average gamer, because they only know about the surface level and most extravagant part of it. This topic is an industry where I work for over 5 years now. The topic I'm talking about is NFTs, and hear me out. I also believe that the speculating with monkey pictures is silly as fuck. But I have a couple of points that I want to bring up about how the largest majority of people, even within the Web3 community, haven't scratched the surface of what the technology of NFTs can really do. I'm targeting this video to Asmongold and his viewers because I'm part of them, same age range, similar favorite games, and it makes me sad how to most NFTs are just silly pictures to speculate with. But this technology goes way beyond art when understood correctly. This is my current opinion, and opinions change, so make what you want with this. It's super simple to be drawn by what's the most attractive. In the case of NFTs, it was tokenizing real easy, simple assets, in this case pictures, and being able to trade them. Even though the first NFTs were created in 2014 on Bitcoin through Counterparty, and 2015 on Ethereum, the first actual collections of profile pictures as we think of them today were not created until 2017. The most well-known collection from those years is CryptoPunks, which is not the first one at all, but the one that gained some early recognition. There were also people experimenting with this kind of asset for some very simple games. The one that is remembered the most from this era is CryptoKitties from late 2017. It was a simple game about breeding cats to try to get rarer traits. Back then, no big money was being made by single users. It was all about experimentation of what owning digital assets was for the first time ever. This is a very important step in asset ownership. You probably know that you don't own your Steam account. Steam owns it, or your Google account, or your Instagram account. You're relying on the developer to let you use it as a license. But really, when it comes down to it, you don't really have it. I will admit there's no easy solution to something like ownership of a live service game, but for anything single player, there's less excuse about us not owning anymore our games that we paid for. Moving forward with NFT technology, in the end, what could be more extremely speculated on is what succeeded for the following years. A short-term spike that drew a lot of attention, and then it started to dump and never really recovered, at least so far. With the tension that CryptoPunks from late 2017, a meta formed about what makes NFT projects rise. It wasn't anymore about something cute and simple like CryptoKitties, where there was an unlimited amount of cat pictures being created, so literally anyone that wanted one could get one. Supply was always capped. Most notably, the meta was really about 10,000 units in a collection. 10,000 CryptoPunks, or whatever the collection was. And it was going to be art that was randomly composed together. This means that, as opposed to what many independent artists were doing, like some I know, where they were minting one single copy of one artwork they created and then putting it up for sale, the meta was to create a base and then a bunch of traits or accessories on top. Think of different categories in a profile picture. You have skin color, eyes, mouth, clothes, hat, background, and so on. People will create a bunch of each category, which usually was also around 150 to 200 total traits. Then they will assign what percent of appearing each trait had and generate combinations that then programmatically until obtaining 10,000 units. This made it so that a single artist or just a few of them could create 10k artworks in a quicker way than what it will take to create completely different and original pieces. On top of making the generation process way quicker, there was a very simple use case for these pictures. They were not your usual artwork by an artist, a landscape or something abstract. They were profile pictures, which was a very intelligent thing to do because they became assets to flex on your profiles in Discord or Twitter, the two largest media channels for the Web3 industry, once the price of them got expensive. It became cool to sport a picture of a cartoon that happened to cost $10,000 or $50,000, so you were signaling that you were part of a capped supply, therefore an exclusive club. That also had a very high floor price to enter. Communities started to form around this concept, where people had nothing in common but having bought an expensive JPEG. So enter April 2021, the mint of Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's the famous Monkey Pictures collection that rised the most, got to super high prices super quickly, and then has been slowly bleeding for years. That's it. This is what almost everyone sees NFTs as. The thing is, the use cases of NFTs go way beyond tokenizing art, so that it can be digitally traded. As it makes sense, what had the potential to make absurd amounts of money extremely quick and with very low effort is what got the spotlight first. Nowadays, you just gotta go to freelance hiring platforms like Fiverr and you'll see just how cheap it is to get your average collection of whatever animal in clothes made for you, and then try to sell it. Enough of this. I want to get into the use cases that I believe will become very relevant in the midterm. There's this very unknown, but I believe super important feature that you can do with NFTs. You can make them non-transferable. That means that when they're created, they cannot be transferred from one address to the other, effectively making it so that they cannot be traded, and therefore they'll have no monetary value. This is programmed on the standard and the smart contract level. When a token on a standard and contract is issued like this, it will be minted into the wallet desired and it will stay there forever. Initially, you might think that this has no use case at all, but I will argue this enables for a very important type of ownership, identity ownership. Of course, that's the name I'm giving it. It's not necessarily how other people might call it, but you'll see what I mean. If an NFT can be made non-transferable, you can use it for things that are not meant to be able to be traded. Let's say you complete an online course of JavaScript fundamentals. They could issue you a badge that says you completed this course this year, this time, this day. It's a course by us that teaches this and is issued to you, an online certification that cannot be manipulated, traded, or erased. This is extremely powerful. Another example, say that you buy a concert ticket, which nowadays are basically always digital anyways, but you don't really collect PDFs that you receive in your email, right? Imagine once you redeem the ticket, when you're entering the venue, you get issued a token of assistance that cannot be transferred back. Has no monetary value, but it's a record and a collectible of something you've done. It will be the new way to collect concert tickets, but the cool thing is that it doesn't rely on the website of a certain ticket seller to be kept up. It's registered on the blockchain, a decentralized database of records, kept by machines all around the world non-stop. Now, think of all of the achievements that you have earned with different games. your WoW achievements, your League end-of-season rank records, your Steam achievements. All of those are nowadays recorded in centralized databases that are owned and managed by companies that might or might not exist for longer than yourself. What if those kinds of records were kept on the blockchain, non-transferable and immutable forever? That type of information will enable for new discovery and incentive services developed by new developers to try to give you stuff so you try their games, and it will let people develop systems of player reputation that will unlock many possibilities, like for example very easily telling people apart from bots. That's all possible if we can have standards created for identity non-transferable NFTs. That's a business I will definitely want to develop, and why I'm currently in the middle of my coding journey. But it's not only non-transferable NFTs that have a place in the future. I really believe in other types of assets that can be really owned and possibly traded back and forth, but we have to move past JPEGs. JPEGs are for the most part pretty useless, not gonna lie. But there's other digital assets that when using interoperable formats will be amazing to own and use. Just real quick, an interoperable format is a file format that is usually open source and supported in many applications. MP4 is an interoperable format for video. It is supported in almost any place where you are supposed to upload or use video. Imagine developing a new social media network, but for videos, you don't support MP4, but some file format that you just created. It will be very silly, right? And the barrier of entry will be massive. That's why standards for interoperable file formats are created, so that we can go from one platform to the other easily. And on the topic of gaming, of course, you're not gonna take your Call of Duty rifle to a football video game, or your World of Warcraft sword into a car racing video game. But there's many places where transporting assets across games or platforms makes sense. It's just that they're not as big in the West. Among any type of asset, in particular 3D asset, I believe the king is going to be the 3D avatar that you can use to showcase yourself and play with. If you're watching this video, I bet your right arm that you're not watching from Japan and don't know this, but there's a file format for 3D avatars that was created 10 years ago in Japan called BRM that standardizes how files for 3D avatars should be. There's a ton of applications that support this format, mainly Japanese-made games and apps, but we're catching up in the West as well. Check out things like Hyperfi, an amazing sandbox 3D world maker in the web made by a solo dev in Australia, or Nifty Island, an island-making game made by a team from the US. All of these and tons more support standards like the BRM and others, so that you can come in with your assets and use them there too. My avatar, the one that I use for my content, is a full body and rigged 3D avatar that I can use across so many different applications. Just check out some of my other videos if you want to see that. And on top of that, tokenizing it as an NFT makes it that when I connect with my wallet to those places, my assets already show up in my inventory, so that I can use them right away. Anyhow, as time passes, I think these mechanics will be way more common. It won't be anymore about expensive pictures or about affordable and useful assets. The more people competing to serve a growing need, the better it will be for end users, just like with any other technology. And hopefully, we'll just laugh at the silly times when celebrities were buying and using a random picture of a monkey that they're not really attached to. If you made it this far, I really appreciate the patience for listening, and if there's any interest at all in this topic, I could really cover it in more depth in several videos, tackling different aspects of it. As you can probably tell, I'm very passionate about the future of digital asset ownership, and in the end, it will make sense. Thank you for listening.